All right, welcome. So in this video, I'm going to be giving you guys my proven system for building and maintaining new habits. So this video is going to cover how you can start to build a new habit and then how you'll go about maintaining that habit. So without further ado, let's get into the power of habits and why you need them, right? Why are habits so important? Why do you need them? And why does everybody talk about them, right? Why does everybody in the self-improvement space, the entrepreneurship space, the athletic space, why does everybody who are high performers, right? Most high performers discuss habits. Why do we all talk about habits? Why are they so important? The thing with habits and the thing that makes them so key and so important is when ingrained, they become automatic behaviors that we don't have to think about. Think about if we had a business and we automated through AI, right? The power of automating a behavior with an AI system can save us time, can save us energy, and can allow us to make more progress and do so faster, right? We can take it a lot further because we have this foundation of habits that support the specific goal we're trying to achieve. So a lot of times when people talk about habits, they discuss breaking bad ones, right? How to get rid of bad habits. This video is going to teach you guys how you can actually start to build a habit that would support you on your goal, right? How to build good habits and ones that will actually enhance your ability to become successful, enhance your productivity, and allow you to create more results and maybe create better results than you would without this specific habit. Basic examples can include meditation, journaling, reading, running and exercise every day, some form of deep work, stretching, yoga, breath work. Things like this are all habits that no matter what our goals are, if we were to maintain one or more of these habits, they would actually support our ability to progress in our specific goals. So this video is covering not how to break bad habits or talking about habits that are negative, but we're going to be talking about habits from a sense of using them as a tool for more success in whatever it is we're trying to achieve. So habits are very, very important. They are key because if we have the right habits, we will, over 10 years, 5 years, we will see much more progress, we will see much better results than the person who has bad habits, right? This is an obvious thing. A lot of people understand this. But the thing is, we need to have the right habits because in order for us to become successful and in order for us to 100% completely ingrain success into our identity, into who we are, we need to replace any bad habits and we need to integrate habits that will align us with that identity even more. So for example, if you have a habit of smoking after work every day because it's to wind down and relax, you could replace that habit with a habit of meditation. And that meditation habit would not only remove the negative habit of smoking, but it would replace it with a specific habit that would actually support whatever goals you have. So let's say you work a job, you come home, you have like an hour, you smoke, and then you go and you do whatever. If you meditated for that hour and then decided, okay, I want to start a business, okay, I want to start exercising more, you will have more energy, more clarity, more awareness to go and start that next thing. It'll require discipline. It'll be difficult if you're tired and exhausted from work. So if you meditate, you'll be able to make that decision much easier than if you were to smoke. Once you smoke, it's a lot easier for you to just be like, nah, I'm going to just go get some food, sit on the couch, whatever. So the habits that you have play a big role in the things you're able to do, right? Having the right habits opens you up to opportunities you wouldn't normally have. It creates a state of mind that allows for more productivity, for more progress within whatever you're working at, right? If you have a habit of reading books and learning instead of mindlessly scrolling on TikTok, you're going to be a smarter individual than the person whose habit is scrolling. Habits are very, very important. They're key, right? They compound slowly in the background, quietly in the background, but after 2 years, even just a few months, right, you can see the difference in the person who's maintained the right habits versus the person who has the wrong habits. So how do we actually begin building habits, right? What is the process for beginning to build a new habit? And then how do we ingrain that habit and maintain it? The first step to any new habit is setting a goal, right? What is it you're doing? Why are you trying to ingrain a new habit? Is it to change a bad one? Is it because you have this block of time available? Is it because you want to see more success in your life? Is it because you want more clarity? Do you want to become more productive, right? Do you want to optimize your time better? Determine what the goal is, why you want to ingrain new habits, right? What is it that's driving you towards some type of behavior change? Determine that and identify that. Then you identify what habit you actually want to build. So based on the goal that you have, what is the habit that you're actually trying to incorporate? What is the habit you're trying to build? So let's use an example. You just quit smoking, you removed all the bad habits, you just got on self-improvement, right? You're meditating every day, you're exercising every day, and you're consistently working as well, right? You have a business that you've started and you're working at it consistently. Well, what is a habit that you would be able to ingrain that would support you on that goal? Let's say yoga for the example, right? Let's say you're training, let's say you're meditating, and you're doing some type of work. Maybe you're still in school or maybe you have a job, but you're doing some type of work on the side as well. So what habit would support you in this, right? If you're training consistently, you want some type of recovery activity. So yoga is a great example. Determine what habit you want to build. I'm going to use yoga as the example for this video, but determine what habit you want to build and why. Another example is if you have no good habits, right? All of your habits are bad habits. What would I say? I would just say replace one of the blocks you have of doing some type of bad habit. So let's say you scroll after work or school. Take 20 to 30 minutes, or even just 5 or 10 if you're at that point, and meditate before you go into whatever bad habits you have, right? Find ways to incorporate good habits. And why I say meditation is because meditation is a good start. And if you build a consistent habit of meditation and you build up that skill over time, it'll be easier to start stripping away more of the bad habits and adding more of the good ones. So now you have your habit and why you want to incorporate it, okay? I feel my muscles are always tense and I'm training a lot, so I'm going to start yoga. I'm going to start doing some recovery stuff. Yoga, breath work, and stretching. So now you want to set a time and a location to start this habit. Where are you going to do this habit? If you're building a habit of going to the gym, the obvious answer is the gym. That's your location. If you are starting the yoga example, well, I do my yoga in my bedroom. So personally, that would be my bedroom floor, specifically on my mat. If you have a smaller space and you're trying to create multiple different habits within it, well, you can organize that space in such a way that different habits happen with different things, right? So the middle of my floor is usually clean, and then I put my mat out, and when my mat is out, that is my location for this specific habit, right? So that is an incorporated habit in my brain, is when I put my mat out, I'm either meditating or I'm doing my yoga or I'm stretching, and then I put my mat away and that habit is closed off, right? Another section of my room is my bed. When I'm in my bed, I am only ever sleeping or getting ready to go to sleep, right? If I'm in my bed, that means I'm preparing to go to sleep. So that location is specific to that habit, right? My bed is where I rest. I don't go in my bed during the day because I'm not planning to be going to sleep at 5 p.m. My desk is an optimized space for recording. This desk is. Let's say this desk, for example. This desk is an optimized space for recording. So when I show up here, if I don't have other work to do, it's usually recording. So I pull up, I get my stuff ready, and I go, because that's the habit that I've incorporated within this space. So determine a location, and then once you've determined a location for where to do the habit, also set a time. So every day at 2 p.m. after I get home from the gym, I'm going to do my yoga routine. So that is a time and a location, both of which are clear and defined. Once you have those two things defined, now it's very simple. At 2 p.m. tomorrow, I will go into my room, set up my mat, and I will start my yoga routine. So now that you've set your time and your location, you know where you're going to do it and when you're going to do it, the next step is to set that environment up to make it easy to start. So with yoga, my yoga routines are on YouTube. I'm not going to lie. I'm not that into yoga that I have my own routines yet, but you could pull up a 10-minute routine on YouTube. What I've done is I've created a playlist on YouTube that has all 7 days. So there's 7 different videos representing each day of the week for one video per day that is each day's yoga routine. So a simple way to look at this is I have 1 through 7, Sunday through Saturday, and each video is each day's yoga routine. So that means it's very easy for me to go into my computer, pull up that playlist, and then if it's Wednesday, I pick the 4th video in the playlist. If it's Tuesday, it's the 3rd video. If it's Saturday, it's the 7th video. And then that part is simple. That's a way to remove resistance from what you're trying to do. So, for example, if I had to go in, search up a video, look through all the videos, find one I like, and then sit down and start, versus having a playlist where all of my daily routines are already set up, that removes a bit of resistance, making it easier to start the habit. The other thing is I have my mat rolled up and right next to the place where I would set it up. So when it comes 2 o'clock, the first thing that I'll do is I'll take my mat and I'll unroll it and set it out so that I can begin. That way everything is set up, everything is obvious. I can see my mat. It's right there, it's right in front of me. The time is obvious. I know that, all right, it's 2 p.m., it's time to start yoga. And then the other thing is it's easy to initiate because I don't have to go and find a video. I just have to go into my computer and pull up the video that's already preset for that day. This makes it easy. So this step is making it obvious and making it easy to initiate, because this is how we'll be able to start a habit that we still have a lot of resistance to, and we'll make it easier to initiate that habit so that we can get into the flow, because once we're that far, it's very easy to finish out that specific task or that habit, whatever it is. So making it obvious and easy to initiate. Another example of this is if your habit that you're trying to start is going to the gym consistently. What you can do is the night before, you know that you're going to go to the gym, or even if you have time in the morning, right? Get your gym bag packed and ready to go. Maybe set it up next to a water bottle and maybe your keys and your wallet. So that way, when it's time to go to the gym, everything that you need in order to go to the gym and start that habit is already set up. This is actually something I've been doing for years, right? My gym bag is always packed because a lot of times I use the same outfit and I'll use that for maybe 2 or 3 days and then I'll swap it. And every time I take one fit out and go to put it in the wash, I put another one right back in. So my bag is always packed and ready to go. That way, every time I go to the gym, I just have to pick up that bag, pick up my keys and wallet, and go. So the next thing is using triggers and habit stacks in order to optimize specific habits. So a trigger is basically something that initiates the habit, right? A trigger could be the time of day, right? That's why time of day is very important. Another trigger could be the location, the environment. A third trigger could be a thought, right? Any types of thoughts. If you're a smoker, a trigger could be the smell of weed or tobacco. Anything that reminds you of the habit is going to trigger the initiation of that habit. And so we want to utilize triggers as a key player in making sure we're consistent. So for example, if you set a reminder on your phone every day at 2 p.m. to remind you to do your yoga habit, then it's going to be easy for you to stick to. And now the other thing is habit stacks. So we want to learn to stack habits on top of other ones in order to optimize for flow. And a good example of this is for the yoga example, I'm doing yoga at 2 p.m. after the gym. So the habit stack is going to the gym, getting done at the gym, coming home, unpacking from the gym, and then I initiate my yoga habit, right? That would be an example of a habit stack. So you can stack habits in a bunch of different ways. For example, my morning routine is a habit stack with my deep work block. So I complete my morning routine, and the completion of my morning routine is the trigger that I use to begin my deep work block. And so these can be very, very helpful in optimizing for a flow with multiple different habits versus just one specific habit. And now the last thing I have is consistency and how to maintain a habit. So once we've started the habit, how do we stay consistent and maintain it throughout, the next few months, the next few years, and even lifetime? Most of these habits should be maintained for life. So how do we stay consistent? First, we have to understand the importance of staying consistent. So when it comes to habits, repetition is how it becomes ingrained, right? I like to say maintain to ingrain. The longer you maintain something, the deeper you ingrain it into yourself. And so with a new habit, it's very important to maintain. So how do we stay consistent? The main thing is staying true to a routine. So staying consistent on a specific daily routine and trying not to stray very far from that as much as you possibly can is going to be key. Because if we have the same daily routine, well, it's very hard to miss a block because everything is set up to optimize for a specific flow. And even if we miss one day, it's very easy to just come back and do it the next day and get right back to where we left off. The other thing is to remember that you will probably fall off. There is going to be times where you aren't consistent, and that's okay. You aren't supposed to do it every day. The goal is to do it every day, but in reality, there are going to be days that you miss. So it's not so much about, I missed one day, I fucked it up, but how quickly can you get back into that flow after missing a day? It's okay to miss one day, but you can't miss two. It is something the book Atomic Habits states a lot, is basically missing one day is fine, but you cannot allow yourself to miss 2 days in a row. And the other thing is using a habit tracker. So if you're just starting off, or I'm not even just starting off, and I still really enjoy the habit tracker. So if you want to track it, that's a good way. If you have a metric, if you can look back and see how many days you've missed, that's a good way to keep yourself accountable to staying consistent and actually following through on that habit. And the third thing is just discipline. You have to stay disciplined to actually following through on the things you set for yourself. So if you decided that you're going to start this new habit, you have to stay disciplined to it, even when it gets difficult, even when you may not feel like doing it. Because yes, we're trying to make a habit so it becomes automatic, but it's not going to be automatic off the bat. It is going to take effort to get to the point where it's automatic. So you have to be willing to put in the effort. You have to be willing to stay disciplined to following through on that habit every day, even if you didn't feel like it one day. And lastly, knowing your goals and why you want to achieve it is going to help you to stay consistent to the things that get you there. And you want to ingrain these habits into your identity. You want to make them a part of who you really are, because then it's easy to stay consistent with them because they are a part of your identity. They are a part of your sense of self. And so therefore, they are a part of what you do every single day. And that's the key, is you want to identify with the belief systems, the habits, the lifestyle that you want to actually live, right? You want to identify with your ideal self and your ideal lifestyle. And the way we do this is by consistently building the right habits, taking the right actions, having the right thought patterns. But also the way that we stay consistent on these is by reinforcing that by internally identifying with it. So that is all I have for this video, and I really hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, leave a comment down below and let me know anything you may have learned. If you want to see more content like this, go ahead and subscribe or leave a like. And you can go and check out my Instagram and TikTok, both of which are in the description. That is all I have for you guys, and I'm out of here. Peace.